are in political shambles when they are also entrusted to be the driver for the global economy, like the World Bank alternative that we heard from Lucas. We think China's initiative for OBOR, which connects Asia, Europe, and Africa, is not only good, it is uniquely significant to revitalizing the global economy when everyone else cannot fill in that power vacuum. How do we enter this debate? Side opposition will defend the OBOR initiative as being uniquely important because there are no viable economic alternatives to driving the economic growth, so that would have otherwise been absent, or in the best case scenario, completely lackluster if it wasn't for China being the pioneer behind this initiative. We believe that value should be the highest priority within today's debate, and that's how we will enter today's debate. I'm going to give you 3 levels of argumentation on why the OBOR initiative is irreplaceable within the modern context. Because firstly, we don't think there are economic alternatives to China's initiative. Secondly, we think the nations being invested in will face no other medium of organic or sustainable economic growth. And thirdly, why China specifically is uniquely capable to drive this initiative successfully. But before that, one large rebuttal that we heard against Lucas' speech. Does this victimize the nations that are being invested in? We have 3 levels of rebuttals. Firstly, just because China gains some number of trade advantages, that doesn't mean everyone is worse off in totality. This is what is called a business deal. Seeing as these projects are high capital, high risk investments in what is previously a lot of these nations completely dead economies, we posit to you that it is completely fair for China to gain a number of trade advantages to ensure that they also have some level of financial sustainability within the markets that they have created. We don't think it's completely unfair. But not only that, we think it was a misrepresentation coming from Lucas. We don't think this is a complete financial coercion because it involves a bilateral economic cooperation which puts those sovereign states on the table to negotiate a fair deal for themselves. So this doesn't abdicate the sitting country from being able to make rules over those infrastructure. Not only that, we think when they make concessions, that means otherwise these sovereign nations see a far net financial good that they can gain from entering into this cooperation because there are no better economic deals on the table that is viable for them. Let's look at the second level rebuttal. Let's assume that there is some kind of advantage from China and evaluate the final net good for these countries. But first, we would like to negate the 2 economic advantages that they say China will have. One, they say that China will have final ownership over this infrastructure. Not only we disagree, but even if the point of infrastructure is that it exists, it doesn't matter that China owns the road. The fact that those roads exist attracts foreign business, FDI into those countries because business now is capable of being created. The fact that this infrastructure exists, that means job opportunities exist, and therefore the local markets now have purchasing power to attract more business investments. The fact that those infrastructures exist, that means that people can utilize that even if China will be able to tax people from using it. We believe that is a fair exchange behind them creating that infrastructure. But even if we don't think it's true that they have the final ownership. But secondly, the other comparative advantage, they said that China will starve domestic construction workers. We have 2 levels of responses to this. Number one, that is not necessarily a bad thing, seeing as underdeveloped and developing nations faces a lot of corruption and low quality construction sites. So therefore, when you outsource to higher caliber construction workers, that might result in higher quality projects. But just because you assign it to foreign contractors, it doesn't mean you will deprive job opportunities for locals, which it was the key economic benefit. Because there is a high comparative advantage for these foreign contractors to hire local laborers in order to work for them. So meaning there's no economic loss in that particular scenario. But even if, right, if none of those things happen, with the pure existence of that investment creates economic gain. I'll explain that more by second argument. Let's look at the third thing about Chinese hegemony, Mr. Speaker. We think it's uniquely untrue when it comes to President Xi Jinping because he has, for the foremost, been non-interventionist within his foreign policy and constantly prioritizes economic growth and values for other people. But not only that, we don't think, so they want to rely on the World Bank to do it, right? We think the World Bank relies on European leadership in order to spearhead those financial investments. And I will tell you in my first argument why that will never happen and why China will be the only actor left to do this. First argument, before that, yes.
It always starts with a fair agreement of what is rightful for China to take back. But the problem is when China plunges these countries into debt, they're able to dictate and monopolize those deals to put it on their terms.
They're not plunging these countries into debt. Let's take a comparison. Let's look at the $16 billion they're putting into Djibouti. Number one, they're already in high public debt. There wasn't any viable economic activity, and putting those infrastructure revitalizes economic growth and capital gain for these countries. And no other country would have said, hey, let's put money into Djibouti to revitalize their economic growth. We believe in an overall comparison, there's far more net economic gains for these countries. Let's look at the first argument. argument, the global economy is facing a power vacuum in the driver's seat. Because these nations that are normally entrusted with economic leadership is now facing a political crisis. Traditionally, we trust two sets of stakeholders. Number one, the EU countries. EU is right now facing Brexit, so there's a growing wariness on how the EU spends their money and investments in countries outside of the EU. If you look at the leaders of the EU, Angela Merkel, firstly, is now pro-Atlanticism and therefore will fuse all of their investments internally within the European region. But secondly, she's in a very tenuous position because she spent all of her political capital in controversial European issues like passing forward the refugee quotas. So she is now wary against spreading economic investments to countries outside of the EU. But secondly, the US, which is the driver of the global economy and the controller of the World Bank, Trump is right now actively prioritizing closed economic markets and protectionism. They want to pull out of NAFTA. They have a gag order on investments to other countries, and they are absolutely refusing to expand economic growth for countries outside of the US. We don't think the World Bank or any other economic alternative will go into these underdeveloped nations and take on the responsibility of developing them. So in other words, it would be a dead market. Let's look at the second argument. We don't think these nations will face any other medium of organic or sustainable growth. These are high capital, high risk projects. So therefore, it's too expensive for underdeveloped nations which don't have local markets and purchasing power. But it's also too risky for these developing nations in Asia which has high household debt and high public debts. So therefore, we look at the investment being the key for the sustainable economic growth. It has multiplied returns because of those job opportunities. International Labour Organization states that for every single kilometer that China builds within its countries, it will allow a single labourer to feed themselves for 2,200 days. And this geographical proximity as well, we believe China has a lot of comparative advantage, particularly within this area. So let's look at the third argument why China is uniquely capable. One, they have a higher capacity of caliber to push for complex infrastructure projects. We don't believe these countries have the capacity to spearhead these high-level projects because of incompetency within domestic management. Not only China has experience, but also China has the comparative advantage in terms of the production of steel. So therefore, it is actually far more economically specialized for them to spearhead this. But on top of that, Mr. Speaker, we have President Xi Jinping who wants to balance out economic growth and filling that power vacuum to be the leader of the global economy. For all of those reasons, we believe this is a uniquely capable, unique situation where China can be the only person to fuel that economic growth. We're proud to oppose.
DPM.
What I'm going to add in my speech today is why the idea of China forming satellite states within the nations that are joined together within the overall region is a bad idea, because eventually it shifts China's backyard out across these other nations into the influence that it has over Northeast Asia, specifically in the dangerous regions and the dangerous conflicts that it's part of. But before that, let's do a little bit of what my contribution is today. She told us that, like, when this big father of yours gives you good money, why is that a bad idea? Right? Generally, everybody profits out of it. And if Big Father takes some money back from you, that's just fair, like, contract terms, right? Because I put a lot of money in, I ought to be able to take some back. Now, this is where we told you from Lucas, as because the terms by which, from the beginning, that were set by China were unfair to begin with. Why are they? Why are they unfair? They are unfair because a lot of times these are long-term maintenance contracts where the return of investments and the tax and tariffs eventually amount to a lot of GDP like eradication from these nations, right? It's about killing off textiles industry within Bangladesh. It's about killing off the fishing industries within the coast of Sri Lanka. And these are problems because eventually, like, there is a saturation point in which these industries are able to profit from and be able to return its investment on these people. At the point where China takes away the prime years that was post-infrastructure development away from these nations, a lot of the initial developments and profit that could be made from these nations are then robbed away from China. But then they say, but it's okay, because if you agree to those terms, you're able to then mitigate those terms based on your own developments and your own companies involved. The problem here is, and this is where they neglected what Lucas said, a lot of times China knows that these nations will be in perpetual debt because they are, like they said, right? They are already riddled in corruption. They are riddled in a lot of existing debts against other international organizations. They will not be able to pay off the amount based on the expected timeline that they set with China. And what happens when this timeline isn't met? What happens is that China now has a bargaining control over what are the other terms it's able to add on in addition to the types of additional interest it's able to place upon these nations. So China becomes the new US that imposes a lot of different debts and conditions to be able to barter the types of regulations in these different areas. What are the consequences of these areas? That a lot of Chinese export products are going to be forced and flooded into these industries because that's the only way China is recouping those additional interests that you owe them. So right from the beginning is a fucking bad idea. But more than that, it's also that the fact that you take more years to be able to recoup those losses as opposed to building those infrastructure yourself and reaping from those benefits is that the years taken to pay off China first means that your industries that eventually profit from it will always lag behind Chinese industries, will always lag behind Chinese development. What this eventually means is even if you're able to pay that back, China gains a competitive advantage in those industries that you are comparatively advantageous right now. That's problematic, right? So that means to say you intentionally lag behind all these small nations that once looked up to China for assistance. No, thank you. But they say it's a good idea because these nations need it anyway. There's an increase in GDP. A lot of people get fed for 2,200 days. But the problem here is that we're not looking to like people immediately being fed, right? Because the comparative here is not that they just start and die. Sit down. The comparative here is that the vision of the One Belt, One Road can still stay. But the implementation doesn't have to be one that's pioneered by China. Why is it so? That means individual nations like Singapore and Malaysia are able to pioneer their own projects to be able to increase connectivity and inclusiveness. Yes, I mean, this notion value judges whether or not it's a bad idea to have China do it, right? So we think that ultimately when they do it themselves, it's a pretty good idea, right? Because they don't kill off the comparative advantages markets that they have, and to be able to ground their own companies within this infrastructure development so that they're able to determine the kind of labor standards, the types of employment rates to be able to feed the types of people, and not have China determine the sweatshop standards for these various industries that they build alongside the ports and the railroads that they want in these places. But they say, if China were to do it, it's going to be lackluster because, or it doesn't exist because everyone's just shitty at doing that. But that's good when they're lackluster and they're slow. Why is it so? Because you're better able to calibrate geopolitical reasons and ties, internal security reasons, or to where these ports ought to be built and when these ports ought to be built. Why is it so? In places like Tanzania, where riots are going on right now due to natural resources stripping by China, in places where, in Kenya, where the pop-up theater is being funded by China, these are problems that intentionally ignored because China doesn't want it to be considered at all. But we think that nations ought to slow down and maybe meet up to the needs of people and deal with such real internal crises before moving on for such developmental projects. Because otherwise, the cost that's incurred upon the lives of people is far worse than like having better food for 2,200 days. Go ahead.
Reducing the growth of some local industries is a natural economic consequences of having FDI. Are you also in principle against all FDI for underdeveloped economies?
But the thing is, you get to decide which FDI you want to give up. The problem here is when China takes and monopolizes all your industries, the key connected industries, like within the rest of the markets that your neighbor countries are. There's no way you can decide when those FDIs are inappropriate. There's no way to be able to say that at this point, I can't have those companies come in because you are in debt against China, because your industries are inherently tied to China, and because the flooding of products coming in, there's no way you can actually put up barriers against them. That's the problem, right? We agree some investments are good and some are bad, but it's your ability to be flexible, to manipulate those at the right time that's most important. And the last thing that I want to add today is the idea that we create a greater hostage crisis when you allow China to spread out satellite states around these nations. Why is it so? We're looking at China being able to fuck up a lot of problems in places like the Philippines and South Thailand, to be able to fund a lot of shitty countries like North Korea. What happens now is that you allow all these nations to be beholden to the weight and the power of China, where the economies are inherently tied, where China's trade deals determine the solvency of these industries and the trade routes that they hold, the types of bilateral and economic relationships they share with the rest of the ASEAN nations, and for those within the African regions that are recently burgeoning. What's the problem with this? The problem is that every single single nation now becomes the manufacturing plant of the backyard of China. But more than that, it becomes a satellite state for political influence to be able to cope with China's expansionist and belligerent methods, to be able to support belligerent states like North Korea, to be able to push for greater naval presence within the Asian regions. And this is problematic when all nations now have to succumb to the will of China to hurt their very own interests against their neighbors in their own backyard. That is pernicious, and for those reasons, I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Rafiq.